Hello and welcome. My name is Errity and this is Wise Woman Television. Today I am bringing you a pick a card reading on your life's pilgrimage, your life's journey. So I'm going to take you on a little journey of your life in terms of what you're growing into, or like what you actualize over the course of your life, the full outcome, as well as your journey through childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and elderhood. So I think this will be a lot of fun, probably go a little bit deep. And so I encourage you to stick around. I encourage you to like and subscribe. Liking ensures other people see this video, and subscribing ensures your own commitment to yourself. So I will first put up the choices, card piles 1, 2, and 3. And we will begin. Card pile 1. So your life's pilgrimage, your life's journey, and what you end up growing or actualizing into. So you, for pile 1, had a rough childhood, I would imagine. I don't know what that is specifically for each and every one of you, but it feels like there's a lot of tenderness here. I feel a lot of softening and warmth in my heart, a lot of compassion. I feel like you struggled, and there were some challenges there. Now, I don't feel anything heavy hitting like abuse or extreme toxicity, although that's very possible because, of course, this is a group reading. What I'm feeling more so is maybe general dysfunction, general unhappiness, scarcity, poverty, financial scarcity, just worries. Maybe you were involved with your parents' worries, they were worried. So you saw a lot of that, or maybe your parents were fighting and you saw a lot of that dysfunction. Maybe some difficulties and challenges at school. You weren't fully accepted or fully seen. Maybe you didn't receive a lot of love and support as a child, a lot of warmth and tenderness. You really didn't feel seen or celebrated or heard. So your childhood feels like it was a little dark, and it doesn't mean that it wasn't valuable or beautiful or precious, but that, and of course, this is the whole point of the reading, right? Is we're talking about the pilgrimage of your life and what you walk through, and as a result, what you become. But it looks like it was challenging for you. It looks like your childhood, that there was, again, some scarcity, perhaps some struggle, but some pain, some tenderness, some sadness, some loss. You know, the lights were out a little bit in your childhood. And so that's what it feels like for you for pile 1 for childhood. And your adolescence, you feel like you were a little bit of a rebel. So perhaps you were rebelling against some of these experiences that you had as a child, like a big FU to your parents or to the world or how you were raised. But you were a little bit of a troublemaker, or even if you weren't a troublemaker or getting in trouble, you were the one who was going to ask the questions that might upset or unnerve your parents. You know, you were willing to go there. You were willing to say the thing, to stick up for yourself, to advocate for yourself. You were willing to sort of press the envelope or say or do the thing that got under people's skin or had them question the narrative or the family paradigms and patterns. So you were a button presser or pusher, and or you could have been the one who was like sneaking out at night, going and drinking or smoking with your friends, or whatever kids do, but you were like the rebel, right? And you were the one out there just being like, F it, like I'm gonna do my thing. So that's what you did as an adolescent. Now it looks like in your adulthood you went through a lot of healing. You went through a deep healing journey, or are now, if you're watching this as an adult, as you matured into healing some of those wounds. So it looks like you might have gone through a long period of adolescence, a lot of partying, a lot of fun, a lot of late nights, kind of maybe even pressed your luck in terms of your youth. Like, I'm going to keep pushing this, you know, like I'm 28, still going to act like I'm 18. You know, I'm 30, I'm going to act like I'm 18. And no judgment, but it's saying, it feels like for some of you at least, the period of your youth of sort of rebelling and acting out and focusing on primarily fun and that kind of thing lasted a while, and such that when you finally came out of that, you kind of looked around and you were like, oh, like I have some shit I gotta heal, like I have some stuff I have to deal with. You know, there is some deeper healing that is being asked of me. And so your adulthood now and in the future is going to be like a big reconciliation. This is what I call the great reckoning in my work. Whether you follow me on social media or if you've read any blogs, if you have worked with me, many of you probably have not, but I call it the great reckoning, sort of those rock bottom moments, but not necessarily the ones where they're like the acute crisis kind of rock bottom, but the one where it's like you cannot move forward until you face everything that you need to face. You cannot move forward until you've looked at everything. No stone has gone unturned. And actually it brings up a lot of emotion for me, so I feel like that's going to be relevant for a lot of you, that no stone will be left unturned in your adulthood. You are really looking underneath and looking at the crevices and the nooks and crannies that may have gone unlooked at for years now, because we know that you had a childhood that was rocky. It looks different for a lot of you. I gave a lot of examples as to what it could have looked like. And you didn't know what to do with those emotions. You didn't know what to do with those feelings. You didn't know how to navigate that, your inner world, your inner terrain. I don't think you were given the tools, or even that your parents had the tools. It doesn't feel like this group had like any formal therapy, or if you did it, perhaps you didn't connect or it didn't work, but it doesn't feel like you had any guidance. And so you threw yourself directly into adolescence and finding ways to distract yourself. Perhaps not everyone was it. Again, the troublemaking, like I said, perhaps it was just, you're advocating for yourself, or even applying yourself in your studies or whatever, but completely going against and not even looking at your child or your inner child. And then of course your adulthood then, as you grow into maturity, requires a great reckoning, where you look at all the things that you never did before, and you take a look at those old patterns, you take a look at that history, look at the pains from the past, and perhaps what your parents said or did, or what you said or did, or what happened to you, and you claim it. You face it, you claim it, you come to understand it, and then you have enough breathing room and spaciousness and compassion, or at least awareness around it, so you're able to fully move on and step into a different energy. Because you were kind of carrying a lot of it, but it was suppressed during your adolescence. So you might have had a lot of fun, or done your thing, or applied yourself, or was successful, or whatever your version was for pile 1, but you had a lot of deeper healing required. That a lot of the stuff was still sitting in you, and you had looked at it. So it's still in your field and in your system, so to speak. And over your adulthood, you'll be going through deeper clearing, deeper healing periods to clear all this stuff out, to fully integrate and own kind of everything that happened to you. And really, this is just the personal growth journey. This is the heroine's journey. This is the hero's journey. This is the whole thing, right? This is kind of the point of life. So I like that it came up for you, pile 1. A huge part of your pilgrimage is kind of healing a lot of that, the underbelly, the undercurrent that you didn't look at, that was stemming from your childhood. And so if you haven't done any of that work, I would suggest that you do so. Find a way to do so. I offer coaching sessions as well as readings, and I know there are plenty more out there. And whatever opportunity comes up for you, I encourage you to follow that impulse or nudge. And as you step into elderhood, you are a truly connected, aware human being. You are able to see how everything connects. You're able to see the reasoning and the rationale in everything. You're able to see the purpose in it all. You're able to see the greater potentials as a result. You kind of develop these connections and understandings and awareness and knowings that gives light to everything that you experienced, and you're able to kind of settle into yourself as a wise elder, as someone who knows, who gets it, who understands, who appreciates, who can accept life. You're able to fully appreciate you as you are, but also your life path as it was, and appreciate everything that it gave to you, because it set you on the path to experience everything that you experienced. And so you're sort of grateful. And I don't feel like a huge, overwhelming amount of gratitude. It actually feels like this simple, resolute appreciation for where you came from. It is what it is kind of thing. And you've made all the connections, you've connected all the dots, and it just lands for you. Everything settles, everything assimilates, everything integrates. And you become just simply aware and wise and in your own knowing. Now, the outcome of all of this is you become truly authentic to yourself, or you belong to yourself, right? So you don't necessarily follow the same path as your family dynamics did or your generational patterns did. Like, I don't feel this huge energy of like cycle breaker, like you're here to like, break these cycles. Although obviously that's relevant because that's what you do. It feels like this gentle, organic, natural flow and settling in of coming into your own self, coming into your own path, coming into your own being. These patterns that you came from aren't relevant for you. They aren't something that you align with or perpetuate. You simply follow your own path. You follow your own rhythm. You become you, unique to you. And even like that simple gratitude of where you came from and that all that it's done to bring you where you are. And that it's not this like big thing. And that's what's interesting too for pile one is I don't feel like this overwhelming again amount of gratitude or like, I'm out here like breaking cycles. It just feels so simple and so organic. And maybe that's that elder energy, the crone energy that I kind of, that we stepped into there at the end where it's just like, this is the way it was. Now this is the way it is. And this is who and what I am. And this is what I have to offer. And so it feels very simple. It feels very effortless. And it also feels resolute. Like you have completed those old chapters. You have come to a place of closure and resolution. You've moved forward. And what you step into in the overall outcome is just being authentic to yourself, not carrying on those old patterns or paradigms and pain from the past. You truly welcome yourself. You accept all that you are. You can dance and live life freely. You are free. You are liberated. You are unchained. So that's your pilgrimage and your life's journey, pile one. This resonates with you. I encourage you to share your story in the comments below and to like and subscribe, support this channel. And I want to let you know, as I shared earlier, I do offer both personal readings as well as coaching sessions to support you in your life's journey on your great pilgrimage to all that is, because we all end up in the same place and we start again. So thank you, pile one. I will see you next time. Okay, so pile two. This is your life's journey, your life's pilgrimage. I will walk you through your childhood, the major theme of your childhood, adolescence, adulthood, elderhood, and then is the overall outcome, like what this destination is that you come to as a result. So in your childhood, it feels like there was a lot of judgment against yourself. So this could have been imposed by you or imposed on you by other people, your family. You could have been the black sheep. You could have been the one that your family didn't understand. A lot of us who are on the spiritual path or are on a more purposeful or intentional path, we tend to be the black sheep of our families. And so that could have been it for you, where you encountered a lot of judgment and then internalized these judgments. You internalized these beliefs. You then you came to a place where you were seeing the world through the lens of these old beliefs that were actually imposed upon you by other people, and the way that you perceived that they saw you. So not only the way that they saw you, but the way that you perceived that they saw you. So this is your family of origin. And for some of you, it also feels like it could have been more friends, kind of the schoolyard kind of thing, maybe not being fully understood and accepted by your peers, maybe not having as many playmates, or perhaps you saw it that way. It feels so much like a lot of self-judgment. So yes, you experienced things as a child that led to this internalization of these beliefs, of these limiting beliefs about yourself or the way that you view and perceive yourself. Like it feels so self-imposed. It feels dark. It feels like, a light went out, like this lone child who wasn't fully understood, wasn't fully seen, accepted, celebrated, known, held. And I do find, though, a lot of this is self-imposed. So I want to make that clear, because something did happen clearly. There has to be a catalyst, of course, or something in your environment that led to a child believing this about themselves. But it seems like it gained more momentum and steam than it had to. And not that you did anything wrong. You didn't know. You were innocent. You were a child. You had no idea. You're just navigating this world like everybody else, right? However, I want to let you know it was mostly self-imposed, because that's the key to your liberation. It's not the world seeing you this way. It's you seeing you this way. And even if it was that way then, now, as an adult, I imagine, who's watching this, you have a key to liberation, to your own self-liberation and self-empowerment, because you are the one who either saw yourself this way or continues to see yourself this way, so only you can unlock those chains. So you impose these beliefs about yourself. You're the one who keeps the veil and that particular lens over your view, your perspective, and you can lift that veil at any time and release it. You're being encouraged to do that, of course. So your adolescence feels like it was relatively unscathed. Maybe we could call it like the simple standard issue American teenagehood or adolescence. It feels like you had some fun, maybe dabbled in some things, maybe, were a little bit curious and tried some things, or did the little kinds of adolescent things, right? Maybe you had sleepovers, and maybe every once in a while, maybe you tried sneaking out, or you kissed a boy, or played truth or dare, or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But it doesn't feel like you were a huge rebel, a huge troublemaker. You weren't out getting high and sleeping in the football. I was going to say the football court. That's not it. But you weren't out there sleeping on the football yard. I don't know. Terrain. We don't know. We're just gonna leave it there. And maybe you were, I got a lot of that energy, a lot of that fun energy, youthful, to the fullest energy for pile 1. For pile 2, it just feels simpler. Feels like maybe you even had the quintessential American dream, adolescence, but that it was mostly unscathed. It wasn't particularly harmful or damaging. It does not look like you were in a toxic, abusive, or dysfunctional home. And if you were, you had found a way to deal with it, to separate yourself from it, maybe even numbed out from it. But it wasn't like a huge crux or central part of your experience in your adolescence. You were kind of just sort of living in sort of innocent, organic, natural flow of your adolescence. It wasn't too big, too small, too high, or too low. Sort of neutral is what your adolescence feels like. Now, as you're stepping into adulthood, so if you're either already here and you're on this journey, so you're watching this, it will confirm it, and or it's going to give you some clues as to where your adulthood guides you to. But in your adulthood, you are learning to be true to yourself. You are learning to trust yourself, to trust your own inner knowing, your own inner nudges, your own inner impulses, your own inner guidance. You are learning in your adulthood also to learn to perceive from the perspective of truth, from the viewpoint of truth. You are learning to sort of step outside of these old belief systems, these old lenses, these old perspectives and viewpoints that are no longer relevant, that were imposed in childhood, that weren't really who you are, weren't a reflection of who you are, certainly not a reflection of what's possible, certainly not a reflection of your true nature. And so your pilgrimage in your adulthood is really discovering who you are beyond the conditioning, beyond the voices, beyond what you've been taught and told, beyond these self-imposed judgments and limitations, beyond the perceptions you believe other people have about you, but learning to kind of step outside of any old notions, perceptions, assumptions, expectations, and belief systems, and even the outside world at all. Stepping into your own inner knowing, your own resolve, what you want, what your own guidance is, your own source, your own wellspring, your own wisdom. It's really getting to know yourself as a power source. That you're not taking power or getting power from someone out there, even with a simple reading like this. And of course, these are fun, right? And they're not something we're relying on or dependent on or help us, That's not what the point of these readings are, and certainly not over YouTube as for a group. And I share that because, we're all watching this, and we all do this, right? So that it's playful, it can be fun. But you are your own authority, and you learn your own authority here in your adulthood. You come into a place of your own sense of worth and worthiness, of your own value. You raise your standards. You step into your greater power and potential. So you're learning that just by learning to tune in. When in doubt, connect and tune in with yourself. Because that's what you're learning your entire adulthood. If you have troubles with parenting or in your job or in your career or your direction, your life purpose, yes, I do offer readings for a lot of that stuff on the channel. However, your guidance and what's coming through here, and I say it's guidance because you might not have gotten to this yet during the season of your life, and it's about getting to know you, your voice, your wants, your needs, how to take care of you, how to connect with you, what you want, how you would do this, how you would offer yourself your own advice. It's getting comfortable with you and your own worth, your own value, to the point that you trust yourself, and you trust yourself with anything that comes through for you. Now, what's really neat in your elderhood, that chapter of life, that you're either watching now if you consider yourself an elder, or you will step into this later. It's a period of like great receiving. So it's like you've been through a period of like manifesting a lot through your life, working towards something. Obviously, this is like your spiritual journey or part of your life path and whatnot, and how things unfold over the course of your life. But of course, many of you have jobs, you're saving, you're working toward a big dream or a greater vision or true north. And this is your opportunity where you get to sit back and actually finally receive. Now, I am not saying wait until elderhood to receive, but what I am saying is the major theme of your elderhood is you come to a place of great receiving, taking ultimate care of yourself. You've already been through the journey of learning that you're the number one and you're your number one source. So that's who you go to. You don't have a lot of drama. You're not fielding a lot of drama, like go there, stop there, having to deal with boundaries and all this stuff. You've learned to create a life that serves you and honors you and treats you well and supports you. You've worked toward that. You've been willing to put, the foot to the pavement and do what you need to do to bring about the things that you've been guided toward in your adulthood. And so you really get to experience the harvest. You get to experience the fruits of your labor. And so that feels really special and well deserved and well earned for pile 2. And the final outcome and the overall theme for your life then is actually creating first of all, it's victory. Like you do it, you did it, you can celebrate, you get to experience all you came here for and all you worked toward. But also you ended up experiencing a village, a family, a community, a loving, healthy, happy home. You end up getting or being surrounded by loving, supportive family, loving and supportive community, whatever you consider that for yourself. Maybe you move and you find a home with a neighborhood or community that surrounds you, but it feels very natural, it feels effortless, but it feels like home. Like you actually create an experience of home in your life, and what you move through, this pilgrimage of your life, leads you to a place, a feeling of home and sense of belonging. So that's because of the life that you created, because you've learned to honor yourself, and because you end up creating and discovering and cultivating a greater family and community that loves you and holds you, and no doubt you do the same for them, but it feels like home. So that's for you, pile 2. That feels so precious, and I'm happy to share that with you. And if this reading lands for you, I encourage you to share your story in the comments and to like and subscribe to support the channel. I also provide personal readings and guidance as well as coaching sessions to support you to bring these readings to life and bring everything that you desire to fruition. So thank you, pile 2. Okay, pile 3. We're talking about your life's pilgrimage, your life's journey. I will move through the themes of your childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and elderhood, as well as the greater theme of your life. So in childhood, it seems like there might have been some codependency here, where you were either relied on for emotional support, or you weren't fully honored, fully seen, fully understood as a sovereign entity with your own feelings, your own needs, your own wants. So because you weren't seen that way, and because maybe your parents relied on you or were codependent with you, such that you found you had to put up a false pretense or numb your own needs and wants to serve them in order to gain love and approval, to gain attention, to get your needs and wants met. So you sort of separate or distance yourself from yourself and brought other people closer so that you could support and serve and honor them. Of course, this was serving you in some way because it ensured some kind of sustainable relationship and getting your needs and wants met as a child, who requires adults to ensure their own survival and livelihood. Very natural coping skill and mechanism for a young child. But you separated yourself from your own needs and wants to honor other people. So you sort of lost a sense of your own self. You distanced yourself from yourself, and it feels like that was the point where you disconnected and were unable to truly know what you wanted, who you were, what you needed, even what your own feelings were. Like your feelings ended up being set aside more or less for the feelings and needs in other people. So there's some codependency here. There's some martyrdom I'm picking up on, where you might have even become the rescuer for your family. So if they needed something, again, whether this was your parents or a larger family, or maybe compared to other siblings, you were relied upon, needed. You had to grow up much more quickly than you than you would desire as a child, and or than what was deserved. You deserve a childhood like anyone else, and yet you were parentified, had to become responsible, had to support your parents in whatever way, had to separate yourself from your own self, your own needs, your own wants, to serve others just to make it work. And so that was the theme of your young childhood, sort of losing yourself to the needs of your caregivers or your family. Now, it seems like in adolescence, you kind of either took on new hobbies, took on new ventures, new projects, you found ways to apply yourself. Some of you even left home. Maybe you became emancipated minors, but I feel a lot of emotion here, so this will land for some of you who became emancipated minors, or you felt like you were an emancipated minor. And I know that kind of sounds ridiculous, because if you didn't do it, you didn't do it. However, it's like you felt like you were your own sovereign being, because no one helped you, no one supported you, no one was taking care of you. It's like you were having to maybe even buy your own toiletry items, maybe even buy your own food, take care of yourself. And even if it wasn't down to that level of survival, you took care of yourself emotionally and psychologically. There was no one really you could answer to. Again, everyone relied on you. So like you felt like an adult, and you either emancipated yourself and left home. Many of you left home. I even feel like some people moved far from home, thousands of miles from home. And some of you kind of just picked up and took off and applied yourself to a hobby, to a project, to your studies, and you found a way to make it all work, where you could kind of just bring yourself some simple fulfillment and joy despite the things that were happening, and despite maybe some of the things that you grew up in. You found some ways to apply yourself, but you very much felt sovereign, alone, responsible, maybe even unsupported, that kind of thing. Now, in your adulthood, I'm going to get a clarifier card. You guys know I rarely do this, so you get to see me shuffle on camera. And okay, so perfect. So what's happening for you, pile 3, then in your adulthood? So if you're an adult and you're watching now, this is either already underway and happening, and or this is your guidance to move toward this, and or it's long over. Like if you are stepping into more elderhood, this is something you've already done. But this is you become reborn. How do I say this? You revamp yourself, you reinvent yourself. You recognize that old person who you once were, as identified and relevant to your family and to your caregivers and to where you came from as a child, wasn't really you. The martyr wasn't you. The codependent version of you wasn't you. The person who dishonored their own needs and wants and desires certainly wasn't you. That was all like a veil, a costume, an outfit, a pretense, a persona, literally just to get your needs met and to survive in your family of origin. Like you had to do what you had to do. But now as an adult, it's like, well, you can't live that way forever. Like you can't just keep putting yourself aside and giving yourself to other people. Of course, if you are, you'll find yourself unfulfilled, feeling empty, feeling confused, lost, unconnected or disconnected rather from yourself, from your own knowing, from your own needs, wants, desires. So if you were used to caregiving, playing rescuer, playing martyr, or being codependent in any way, even if you don't identify with those labels, in adulthood, you are then given the opportunity to rediscover yourself. Who you are beyond the martyr, beyond the codependent, beyond the one who has to give to others, beyond the one who has to rescue and save others, beyond the one who is relied upon for emotional support or maybe even financial support, beyond the one who's responsible. Who are you outside of your responsibility? Who are you outside of the duties that you feel like you have to attend to? Who are you outside of your roles and responsibilities? That's the key right there. Who are you outside of your roles and your responsibilities? I'm gonna let that sit and simmer for a second. So that's what you discover and what you move through and navigate in your adulthood, is identifying who you are on the inside, who this true self is, who the self is beyond conditioning, beyond what you've been taught and told, and all of the needs people threw at you and all the projections because they all needed something from you. When you take all of that off, because it's like a costume or a clothing, and you can breathe a sigh of relief, who are you beyond those roles, expectations, duties, and responsibilities? That's your job, to discover that. And what happens is, as you discover this, and it's going to come in pieces, and it's going to come in breadcrumbs, and it's going to come in morsels, you begin to slowly and surely, come into alignment with your true self, your true nature, who you truly are, who you truly want. This is when your greater dreams and desires manifest. So if you're wondering, as this person in pile 3, I've kind of done the work, I've done all the things, why hasn't this come about? It's because you haven't been true to yourself. It's hard to hear, I know, because I even relate to some of this in this pile. And it's like, well, I've already done it. I put in the time. If you were putting in the time as the old self, the responsible, dutiful, martyr, and so on and so forth, codependent self, honestly, that doesn't count for true self. Like, it counts because you've had a journey and navigate all of that to get here, but that will only get you the results of that reality, of that energy, of that vibration. You don't want those results. It's going to bring you people who want to latch onto you and leech onto you and take from you and steal from you your own life force. It's going to have more people who need you and want to take from you. They're not going to people who give to you or who meet you emotionally or emotionally support you or love you for who you are, as you are, in full acceptance of yourself. So, you need to, not you need to, but the next step would be then to begin to align with who you truly are, what you truly want, get to know those things and nuggets and morsels, follow that path, things will become clear. Your needs will become clear, start meeting your needs. Then start exploring your wants. Start doing those simple things. Then start exploring your dreams. Okay, so what are your bigger dreams, your bigger visions? That's going to lead you to your destiny. That's going to be a totally different life, totally different world and reality than anything you would have created with the codependent martyrdom stuff. That's out of here. We're not even doing that, and you've already stepped out of it. You're already aware of it to at least some degree. I feel in this energy, you guys have already been on the cusp of that. You're well into some part of releasing those old ties to the past, that old identity and persona. It's not you. So right now most of you who are watching are in the energy of discovering who you really are, what you really want, what that life looks like for you, and you're taking steps. Now, in your elderhood then, is you become someone who is fully empowered. You feel empowered to live your life, do what you want, live as you please, and kind of all the other stuff doesn't matter. And I love that all the crone and elder energies came through this way for each of the piles, but for you guys, it's like, you don't even bother with that. Like, it's just a non-issue. It's so neutral. It's so easy. It's so organic for you to live in your empowered place, to trust in yourself, to follow your own path, your own authenticity, and to not worry about anything or anyone or what anyone else says or does. You're totally out of the energy of the codependency and all of that. You stepped out of all of that such that you know your own true sovereign power. You have a clear knowing and even resolve and conviction in who you are and what you want, and kind of nothing can stop you. You become very strong in that and very resolute in that. And I think it's because, you've had to get out of any kind of limbo-y kind of energy or kind of wallowy energy or I don't really know or I'm not really sure. You've had to stand very strongly on your own 2 feet and plant them firmly into the ground so you could come out of that and then again step firmly into that greater, more authentic and true path for you. Now, as a result of all of this, you were able to bring about your greater dreams and destiny and desires. So when we talk about the greater overall theme of your life, it feels like movement. It feels like always growing, changing, evolving, stepping into a truer version of you, a truer knowing of you, greater actualization of you, as well as the ability to bring all that you dream of and desire into form. Kind of again, nothing can stop you. You're bringing this legacy forward and through, and there's nothing that anyone else can say or do about it. So that's the overall theme. You come into this very empowered place as an elder, and you're able to bring about everything that you wanted to bring about in your life, the changes in the world. You get to sort of die content, pleased that you really did what you said you were going to do. So it's really beautiful, really powerful pile 3. I thank you for watching. If this landed for you and resonated for you, share your story below in the comments. Like and subscribe and support this channel. And I also want to let you know I offer both personal readings and guidance as well as coaching sessions to support you to bring this reading to life and to bring all of this to fruition. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.